Obviously, you could answer this question for hours. If you had 2 or 3 minutes, someone says, "Hey, I've got a Muslim friend, not that religious, but they seem to be, they're Islamic and they identify as a Muslim. I want to share my faith." What's the first thing you tell that person to do?
I normally say start with lots of questions. It's and something that's important to keep in mind is we tend to think, especially in the West, that people don't want to talk about this. A Muslim would love to. Lots of Muslims would love to talk to Christians, right? Because they believe, if they take their religion at all seriously, they believe that they've got the truth, and they would want to share it. But even besides that, for Muslims who don't take it all that seriously, they believe that we all have a distorted picture of Islam from all the terrorist attacks and things like that, and so they want to correct us. They want to correct, what they think we've been misled by, the terrorist attacks and stuff. But so they would love to talk to us. You just kind of have to open the door. So that's the first thing I say, just open the door. And you can start it like that. You can say, hey, I hear a lot about Islam, but I know, what gets attention are things like terrorist attacks and so on. So I was just wondering, if you could tell me what you believe. A Muslim would love that opportunity, right? And so they'll start talking about what they believe. Oh, we believe in one God and things like that. And so from there, I just, I say, keep asking follow-up questions. What do you believe about God? What do you believe about the Quran? What do you believe about Muhammad? What do you believe about Jesus? What do you believe about the Bible? What do you believe about this? What do you believe about that? You're getting information, and most Muslims would love to talk about their religion and be answering all these questions. But at some point, I would transition from what I call what questions, what do you believe, to why questions. Well, why do you believe that about the Quran? No pressure, but why do you believe that about Jesus? Why do you believe that about the Bible? And then, just so you're not overwhelming them, notice you're not putting pressure on them at all. You're asking questions, they're answering, and they're happy to answer. And then, especially if it's someone you're going to see again, right? If it's a coworker or a fellow student or a neighbor or something like that, I would usually kind of just, leave it there, ask a bunch of questions, get a lot of information, and then sort of conclude with, okay, you gave me a lot of information about why you believe in Islam. You said the Quran's been perfectly preserved, Muhammad's greatest man ever. I'd like to look into this. I'd like to look into these things. Would you mind if I went and studied what you said about Jesus a little bit, and then could we get together again next week? And if I have any, more questions, maybe you could help me out. And so notice you're asking a person for information. You're asking for this person's perspective. Lots of people are going to be fine with that. But then you start coming back and, hey, you said this, and I was wondering, you said the Quran's been perfectly preserved. I was wondering what you think about this passage, which says that entire chapters of the Quran were lost. You don't have to jump in that quick and so on, but that's the idea. You are eventually getting information into the Muslim that he was not going to hear from his leaders, was going to hear from the media, he's not going to hear it from schools, got to hear it from Christians. And then you get into the gospel.